When I was younger, I lived in a one-bedroom apartment with my three other family members at the time. I don't really remember much about this place, which is weird because I remember life before living in those apartments, which must mean it wasn't very memorable at all. I don't even think I was in school yet. No, maybe I was, or maybe it was summer because that whole part of my life has accidentally been erased from my memory files. Anyways, we lived in those apartments for like a year, I think, and then we moved on to what my family and I like to call the apartments. Like, this apartment complex took up most of our childhood as we lived there for 6 whole years. Wow, that's crazy even to me. And let's just say in those 6 years, a lot of memories are made and a lot of things I felt other apartment kids would understand too. So here's that. One thing about living in apartments is that if you lived on the top floor, you knew that jumping or even hard steps wasn't allowed. Fact is, sometimes we wouldn't even be trying to make noises and we would still get complaints from the neighbors downstairs. Like, can y'all chill? Do y'all not want us to move even a little? Because of that, my siblings and I would spend a lot of time outside. Like, around 70% of living in the apartments was outside for us. Being raised outside and actually getting vitamin D from the sun was a blessing in disguise. We would spend literal hours outside up until it was dark, and we would stay out even longer when it was the weekends. The amount of games we would play, like tag, hide and seek, kickball, sharks and minnows, Marco Polo, jump roping games, hula hooping, water guns, literally so many things. It just sucks that these kids nowadays are growing up on TikTok and YouTube rather than games that use skill and creativity, I feel. Like, I would go to school, do my 4-questioned homework, and go outside and hang out with other apartment kids. Also, I don't know if it was just my area, but I kid you not, all the people in the apartments were minorities, immigrants, and people who did not speak English. Like, I'm not even exaggerating when I say I don't recall a single white Caucasian with no accent and a normal American background. The closest thing to that was our German neighbors who lived right next door to us upstairs, but they literally could barely speak English. And our neighbors downstairs were Latinos. And even when I got new neighbors, they were Indians who could barely speak English as well. So when I say we were diverse here at the apartments, I really mean it. That's another thing I miss about living in apartments is that it seemed that we were all friends and knew each other. However, I'm not gonna lie, the kids there didn't really hit all the time. For example, I had this one Latina friend and I forgot her name up until now. Like, God literally just gave it to me and I was like, wow, that really was her name too. Well, anyways, her name was Melanie. Don't worry, she probably doesn't remember me or care. This was like 12 years ago, for crying out loud. Anyways, this girl was so much to handle. She seemed really cool and even encouraged me to learn how to ride a bike and would even help me learn because she was like a pro at riding a bike. So obviously I liked this girl and wanted to be friends with her, and we did become friends. The thing was, her English was very broken and sometimes she wouldn't even understand me. I didn't really care though. The thing was that when she was with her other Latina friend, I kid you not, it would feel like they were talking bad about me. Like, she would look at me, tell her friend something, and then they would both laugh and I would just awkwardly be there. Of course, maybe she wasn't talking bad about me, but she didn't make it very obvious not to think that. Not to mention, she would get mad at everything I did. For instance, she fell off her bike and I laughed because I assumed it was funny. And she didn't even fall that hard. Like, this girl was a pro. I didn't think she cared that I laughed because she fell on the grass with not a single bruise on her. Like, I've fallen off my bike so hard, I had bruises that lasted years. My mom fell off a bike and to this day gets headaches in that same spot she fell. Like, trust me, if it was a serious fall, I definitely wouldn't have laughed, you feel me? Plus, I thought friends were supposed to be able to laugh at each other, so basically, she just got super mad that I laughed at her, and I apologized, of course, because I guess I shouldn't have laughed, but ever since then, she had been really picky with me, and to be honest, I don't think she liked me to begin with after all. Then we had new Indian neighbors that moved in, and they were so nice, but they spoke zero English, which I guess intimidated them, because they would never want to hang out with me. Then there were the two Latino brothers that moved in, Alex and Brian. I liked Brian a lot more because he was super chill and nice to me, and Alex was super popular and didn't even know my name, which doesn't mean I didn't like him, I just didn't really care. They were much older though. And then there was a second Brian who was super chubby, but man, he was the nicest guy ever. He would teach me how to ride a bike and was super funny. And he was also a lot older. Like, they were teenagers old, but they were still all really nice to me even though I was young. I actually wish I knew how they were doing now, but nope. With no numbers or social profiles, it's really hard to keep up with people from back in the day. We all went to the same schools though, which was good and bad. Good because that means I had more friends, but bad because we were apartment friends but not school friends, since sometimes the age gaps meant different grade levels, so it made things kind of awkward. Also, if you live in apartments, you know that bringing in the groceries are so much work, especially when you live upstairs. We would walk all the way down the steps, all the way across the field, and then all the way back the field with as much groceries as our little hands can carry, then back up the stairs and into our apartment. We really got our workouts in each week because of that. I feel like living in apartments built my character at a young age because we lived in a small space with sometimes 5+ people and only 2 bedrooms. There were roaches everywhere, neighbors up in your business, and so many people to socialize with. It made me obsessed with living in a house and getting out of the ghettos. Years later, they changed the name of the apartment complex we used to live in and completely renovated it and changed the colors too. I looked at photos and they turned our huge field into a swimming pool area. Come on, it's all the kids had, man! Sometimes when we pass there on rare occasions, I start to reminisce and thank God on how far He brought me in life. How did where you lived impact your childhood? Any interesting memories you'd like to share? Leave them down in the comments below and let me know what video you'd like to see from me next.